Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're stepping right into the complex and, let's be honest, sometimes completely chaotic world of PMO leadership. If you're leading a project management office or stepping into a new transformation role, I can almost guarantee your journey hasn't been a walk in the park. There is a lot of chaos going on right now in organizations around the world. But you're here because you know that when you are positioned properly with a real seat at the leadership table, there is absolutely nothing standing in the way of you accelerating your organization's strategy. So today, consider me your mentor. We are going to unpack a blueprint directly from leading transformation experts to help you cut through all that noise, build genuine strategic influence, and really lead with impact. So let's just start with a hard truth here. Are you a firefighter or are you actually a PMO leader? I mean, does fighting fires feel like the standard operating procedure at your company? So many leaders find themselves completely drowning in meetings. You know the drill, spending 9 hours a day jumping from one call to the next, literally having the meeting before the meeting, just trying to get a simple decision made. You're exhausted from fighting daily fires instead of driving true strategy. But here's the real danger. When you're constantly playing whack-a-mole with symptoms across your portfolio, you aren't just a firefighter anymore. You actually risk becoming the bottleneck. You risk becoming the fire starter. All because you're unintentionally slowing down the very strategy you are hired to accelerate. Okay, let's dive into this. This brings us right to what we call the output trap. You see, when a lot of PMOs are set up, the knee-jerk reaction is to create 86 brand new templates, buy some million-dollar software tool, and brag about managing 150 projects at once. But more is definitely not better. Your executives do not care how many templates you have if projects are still taking way too long and costing way too much. The shift you have to make is moving toward the outcome mindset. Your true value isn't in perfecting bureaucratic processes. It's in driving business goals, accelerating strategy, and ensuring the value of your work can actually be measured by the business. I absolutely love this quote from our source material. Forms are the new F word. It's hilarious, but it's so true. If your stakeholders literally run the other way when they see you coming, just because they know you're going to demand they fill out yet another form before you'll help them, well, you've got a problem. When we throw process at people instead of solving their actual problems, the very tools that were supposed to create consistency become weapons that prevent engagement. Rigid templates don't create alignment. They just create frustration. You want to create a pull in your organization, right? A place where people naturally come to you for solutions, rather than you constantly pushing a heavy, unwanted process onto them.
Section 1. Redefine the value gap. Because guess what? It is definitely not just an execution problem.
So, a lot of times executives will bring in these massive consulting firms who look around and declare, you have a strategy execution gap, and they blame the PMO. They separate the brilliant strategy from the execution arm, and they basically leave you to clean up the mess. But actually, scratch that. That's a total myth. You actually have a value gap. And value? Well, that is entirely in the eyes of the investor. It's the worth factor. It is just not enough to simply track the benefits of a project anymore. You have to compare those benefits against the actual cost it took to get there. Think of yourself as an investment manager for your organization's portfolio. If a project costs twice as much to execute as the benefits it brings in, that's just not valuable. Your job isn't merely delivering a project on time and on budget, it's to ensure the organization's investment was actually worth it in the first place. Now, this brilliantly illustrates where that value is actually born, the strategy life cycle. You know, most PMO leaders kind of get shoved into the middle phase, execution and planning. They're just handed a project and told, hey, go deliver this. But a true strategic leader is involved across the entire life cycle. You need to be right there in the strategy definition phase, helping executives define what success actually looks like and prioritizing work long before a project even kicks off. And you definitely need to be there in the strategy realization phase, measuring the actual value long after the project team has packed up and moved on. If you want to close that value gap, you absolutely have to be present from the initial idea all the way to the final return on investment.
Section 2. Become the control tower. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it positions you at the very center of organizational value delivery. Imagine a world where you're not just executing tasks in the dark, but you're actually acting as a value control tower. You are no longer some administrative function buried 15 layers deep in the IT department. You are the hub of intelligence. You're providing the unified governance and strategic oversight that allows executives to make much smarter decisions. But to build that, you need a blueprint. Enter the POPIT model. Process, organization, people, information, and technology. This is your strategic operating model. But here is the absolute secret to making this work. You must address these foundational elements in this exact sequence. You have to start by fixing your end-to-end processes, then getting the right organizational mandate, upskilling your people, and identifying the precise information you need to measure success. And you do all of that long before you ever even think about software.
Now, I literally cannot emphasize this mentor warning enough. Technology is the very last step. A super common trap for new PMO leaders is going out and buying some shiny, expensive software on day one just to prove they're doing something. But listen, applying software to a broken process, that is literally just pouring rocket fuel on a giant mess. It basically just means you're going to do really bad things even faster. Technology is never the solution to your root causes. It's simply the accelerator you use only after your process, people, and organizational alignment are totally rock solid.
All right, Section 3, the 90-day blueprint. Let's talk about how to actually earn your stripes.
Look, you don't have 2 years to prove your worth. Frankly, some of you might only have a few months before the execs start wondering what exactly they're paying for. You need an action plan. You need a reliable way to secure that seat at the executive table by showing undeniable, measurable value and showing it fast. This is the 6-stage impact engine journey. It starts by shifting your mindset away from outputs and squarely towards outcomes. Then you assess the organization alongside your stakeholders, never in a silo. Next, you define the right solutions for the right root causes. You plan a roadmap, you deliver those solutions in small, digestible increments, and finally, you evolve by rigorously evaluating your achievements. This isn't some massive one-and-done rollout that takes 2 years. It's a continuous iterative cycle designed to swap out rigid bureaucracy for a dynamic engine of continuous value.
Let's move to and see how this builds across a standard 90-day sprint. In your first 30 days, you are doing a full 360-degree assessment to really nail down the exact pain points of your executives. By day 60, you're already defining solutions and creating a minimum viable product. Maybe it's replacing 5 conflicting governance frameworks with a single unified one. And by day 90, you're delivering initial measurable value. The source material shares this incredible example where following this rapid iteration cycle helped a client optimize their toolsets, cut down reporting bloat, and uncover $52 million in savings. I mean, wow, that is exactly how you answer the question, what have you done for me lately?
So the absolutely crucial point here is this. Massive value impact comes from fixing root causes, not just chasing symptoms. If you try to fix 100 different symptoms at once, like constantly fighting over resources or trying to untangle tool confusion, you're basically just playing an endless game of whack-a-mole, and that yields incredibly low value. But if you take the time during your 90-day assessment to identify just one core root cause, say a severe lack of early portfolio prioritization, fixing that one single thing creates a massive positive ripple effect across your entire organization. You have to focus your energy where it actually turns the dial.
Finally, Section 4, accelerate your strategic influence.
As we start to wrap up this explainer, I want you to completely rethink your professional identity. Earning your seat at the executive table, it's really not about perfectly color-coded status reports. It's about a fundamental shift in how you view your contribution to the business. 100% of successful PMO leaders view themselves as business leaders first. You are not just a process enforcer. You are an investment manager, you're a chief value officer, accountable for accelerating overall strategy delivery. When you step fully into the strategic, value-driven role, you stop being viewed as a cost center and you become the undisputed engine of business growth. So, I'm going to leave you with this one provocative thought. Moving forward, will you just manage projects or will you actually accelerate strategy? Will you accept the output trap or are you ready to build the control tower? The blueprint is right here in your hands. It is time to stop fighting fires and start driving the future of your organization. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer and keep leading with impact.